Hello everybody, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks Raptor Talks video. Today, as you could already see from the thumbnail and the title, the biggest mistake in World of Tanks history. And today I don't want to talk about a weird bug as I did with the 705 stock turret or something like this. I want to talk about something which is in my opinion a feature they introduced but is so unnecessarily and it completely breaks the game balance. So I also want to point out, guys, this is an opinions video, hence why the title is called Raptor Talks, because this is my personal opinion. Your personal opinion will most likely be different from my own, and please let me know what your personal take is on that matter I want to present to you today. And as you probably already can see from the replay, it is about the Type 5 Heavy, or rather the whole Japanese heavy line in general. And today I want to talk about when it started all, what's the problem, and how we could solve it. And yes, it started back in 9.10 when the Japanese heavy tanks were introduced. As far as I remember, back then they didn't really had anything really going for them except this huge 14cm gun on tier 10 and tier 9 respectively. But yeah, those guns were absolutely menacing. 600 alpha damage, and well, they had still back then ridiculous armor. And in 9.17.1 they updated it to introduce this beast of a gun, or rather this gun which is in my opinion the big problem in this game so far. Those 15cm HE slinging guns. Plus also kind of funnily enough, and I want to talk about this a little bit later, the mouse got in that same update also buffs to its armor. It got the Motion and the VK10001P. And honestly, I think that this was actually quite the, should I say, PR stunt by Wargaming. It was then when they introduced many tanks which had more or less no frontal weak spots, ridiculous armor, and you were obliged to shoot APCR or heat shells or premium shells in that kind of sense at them to be able to penetrate them. And this is also something which you start to notice getting more and more present. For example, in the new 9.22 update, you see that with APCR or with premium shells in general, you are roughly able 50% of the time to penetrate the Object 705 Ace upper front plate when he's angling. It's working roughly at that point out. So also, if you look at the new AMX M454, you will see that its frontal armor plate and especially its duckbill gun mantlet is around 300mm thick, and would have guessed 300mm of effective and 300mm of armor is roughly that what tier 10 tanks wield on their premium shells. So after 9.17.1, I've got a feeling that Wargaming started to introduce tanks to make them or being balanced around premium shells. So yeah, this is one of this problem, but the biggest problem is that the Type 5 Heavy at the moment is completely balanced about its stupid armor and this simply stupid HE gun, this 15cm gun, and you can see it right here with the 100. I'm shooting below him and deal 536 damage, at least this is what I thought I hit. And when people looked into my stream, I have a emote or a command which is called Type 5, and well, it says that it negates player skill, and this is also my opinion about the HE gun. The Type 5 Heavy is approximately one of those tanks which has the highest win chance on all of server. I'm not one of the prime examples because I have a terrible win rate on this vehicle. But if we have a look at WBadict in that kind of sense, which also tracks some tank statistics, we can go on to tank statistics, take up tier 10 vehicles as one of our important milestones, and we can take, where do we have it? Up on the upper hand corner, win rate. Now we have it, and here we have our tanks more or less in a nice order, showing us which have the highest win rate. And who would have guessed? The first 5 spots are all put into place by tanks which have to be earned, or you at least have to have a decent amount of skill level. The 907 and so on, and the 121 till the 121B have all above 53% win chance, which is quite strong. Yes, the dataset, depending of it, can be quite small, but there we have it. Next up, we have the WZ111 Model 5A, which has a huge amount of play rate, 72,000 games and 53% win rate, which is also absolutely astonishing. Next up, we have the 5,100 games, there we go, in a WZ113G, but this tank is kind of out of place because of the really low play rate. And apparently, okay. Apparently, if you just updated it, I came across other things. Yeah, the Object 263 is also one tank which again put up some, what's it called, popularity right now. As with the new update changes, the mouse has a huge play rate, is still rather good in the game rate. I do not understand why exactly artillery is up here, the Conqueror gun carrier, but on the 10th place we have the Type 5 Heavy. And from all of those tanks, it has the highest amount of battles played, 96,000. The closest to that one is the mouse of 78,000. And you can see overall this tank has a really solid 51.82% win chance, especially with such a huge play rate. The same goes with the Super Conqueror, and the same goes with the WZ111 Model 5A. You have though to say that many people play the WZ111 Model 5A because, well, it is a really strong vehicle. But my point is, right now, it is backed up by stats that even though it has the most games played in those upper hand corners or the upper parts of our list, it's still on the 10th place in the top 10. And this is also due to the fact that this tank is again not really hard to play. And again, we're going back to my statement about negating players' skills. You have a tank which is slow, yes, 25 kilometers per hour, it is not going to break any world records. Still, 5 kilometers per hour faster than a mouse is still quite a nice treat to have. To that we have armor, which is, and I saw it already while I'm preparing my how to penetrate video, the armor is almost impenetrable for tier 8 vehicles. The only way to penetrate this tank frontally would be through those flaps, which are 160mm thick, but good luck hitting them. Those plates 250, 260, 270, 270, 270, 250. Or 240, but the angle makes it to around 270 as well. Meaning that if you are not shooting gold ammunition, this vehicle will simply be unpenetrable for you. And this makes also this game kind of hard if you think about it for players which want to play this game for fun and do not pose a premium account. And yes, bad luck shot on the T110E3 there. My big point right now is that this tank should be changed somehow, because at the moment it is destroying huge amounts of balance in the game, and this is, well, also kind of part of the problem. In our clan wars experience during the clan campaign of getting those spawns and so on, we played a ton of Type 5 Heavy. The most tanks we've played during the whole time was Type 5 WZ111 5A, Super Conqueror and 907. Those were the most played tanks in our clan, and we achieved top 9, which is in my opinion a pretty darn good place on the EU cluster. And yes, when we played Ruinberg, we were most of the time using type 5 heavies over Mauses or even hundreds. And why exactly? Because you are always doing damage. Yes, you can make your damage better if you're aiming for weaker parts of the armor, which is probably the only skill you need to learn with this tank, except for a little bit of angling. But yeah, that's it. That's the only thing you need to learn with this tank. And I guess this is also why Wargaming still do not want to change the gun. Because it is a tank which can be played by really bad people. And with that bad, I mean skill-based bad. And I don't want to sound like a big meanie or something, or I want to be like, oh, look at me, I have such good stats and all. I don't want to talk about that. I just want to talk about the fact that Wargaming's introduction of the Type 5 Heavy, especially with this overpowered HE round, is simply to make this tank kind of like a money grave. A tank which is there to keep balancing the economies of the game in place, meaning that, well, for example, if this tank is in the game, you as a decently player, you need to most likely shoot gold at it to finally defeat it. If you are playing this tank, you will most likely have to shoot gold HE shells, and also if you wish to be even better, you should also use something like rations. And we can look after this game, and I have a premium account. You will see that the amount of money I'm making with this tank is not really that much. And I think this is also still why Wargaming is keeping the tank as it is, despite its destroying game balance horrendously. The only or pure focus is that less skilled players have a tank they can have fun with, can do shenanigans, and if they're lucky enough, yeah, even one-shot things. But yeah, now you maybe ask yourself, but Raging, why exactly are you not complaining about something like the FV4005 Stage 2 or the 183 or the KB2 or the OI? Well, or old artillery. Artillery is a whole other story for a whole other episode, which I want to talk about another time. The FV183s and Stage 2, yes, they are annoying facing, but the other thing is they have a 21-second reload time, or 24-second reload time when they're not highly armored. The Stage 2 has impressive armor. JK, it does have not. It's huge, it has no armor to speak of. It's, well, decently fast, and the gun is okay, yes. But again, 22 seconds reload time if you are boasting everything you can. This tank here has 16.16 with not even vents. So yeah, what can we do? The easiest way to defeat this monster would be take away the 15cm gun, because let's be honest, it's the biggest problem with this tank. I think the 14cm gun with 600 alpha damage would have been still a good choice. Maybe buff its a premium AP penetration a little bit to be more competitive against something like the even 100, against something like the Mouse, for example. But this tier 10 HE slinger is simply not good, because, as already said, it has no counterplay. If you are using something like a heat ammunition and APCR ammunition, gold ammunition in general, it still has the part of counterplay that if you are hitting tracks, or if you are angling properly enough, you will be able to bounce those shots. The only drawback of those HE shells is that as soon as they hit spaced armor, they will immediately explode and they do not overmatch. But again, let's be honest, why do I care when I can deal 1400 damage theoretically every 16.16 seconds? So yeah, in the background you could see a game I did in my nice little Type 5 Heavy. I feel disgusted. I got rid at by the E100 even saying it's stupid and simply not fun to play against, and I'm totally agreeing with that. 6 kills, 6800 damage, 7k blocked, single-handedly carried that game. But yeah, You can see, even that game, 6,872 damage, 872 spotting and 6 kills was not even enough for an ace tanker. Top gun, steel wall and high caliber. And yes, you can see, none of our team did more than 3k damage. And the enemy team, the E3 and the Scorpion, she did. 19 shots, 14 hits, 14 penetrations, obviously, 4 splash damages. We sniped at least 2,600 damage, 7k blocked. Yes, that would have been a nice little heavy tank number 15 mission. You can see, we made around 78,000 minus because our ammunition cost was 116,000, repair cost was another 26,000, and the auto supply of the consumable was 20,000. And again, you can see, it is a money grave. It's purely there, so wargaming can make it, can make the game balance decently enough. But yeah, this is my personal opinion. And you can see now what exactly happened to the enemy. Splashing under the E3, 487 damage. Splashing the 100, 492 damage. Behind the E3, 201 damage. Lower plate E3, 473, 574, 332, 656, 538, 587, 571, 284, 305 in the kill, kill, and that was apparently a bounce. And there we have another shot. You can see, because we are shooting gold HE, we are doing it against a highly armored target like the E100. 571 damage into its tracks, or rather spaced armor. Kind of stupid if you think about it, right? But yeah, guys, what do you think about that? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm really not a big fan about the Type 5 Heavy. It negates player skill as you just have to point and click. Thank you all so much for your attention, and I'll talk to you all later.